Now your business model is set up and you have a great product and a great landing page that will help to sell it. This should maximize your conversions, meaning all that's left to do is actually send people to your page, and this is where marketing comes in. Good marketing means knowing exactly who you're marketing to, which is why choosing the niche is so important. You want to go much further than simply identifying your ideal target audience, though. You also want to profile them. Psychology is so important when it comes to selling, and this is what will allow you to avoid working hard by working smart. Your buyer persona is a personality outline of the people you're selling to. This will look at where they spend their time, how much disposable income they have, and even what their hobbies and interests are. This in turn will allow you to get inside their head and sell them in an even better manner. It also pays to understand some of the natural driving forces behind all of us. For example, keep in mind that people often buy products as a form of self expression. That is to say, that we love to express ourselves and often buy things because they say something about us. Yep. Think about it. You probably have a ton of old DVDs, and many of them you only bought because they resonated with you and you wanted to show them off in your collection to illustrate that fact. This is how you can sell your products too, by making things that are specifically aimed at one person. If you're selling a t shirt with a joke on it, make it a joke that will resonate with a particular type of person or let them show off some aspect of their personality. This is what will make them want it. And it also works because it's what will allow a product you sell to be a quote perfect gift for someone. You want people to look at it and go, "Oh, that's so John," or whoever. Understanding the psychology of your buyer and tapping into the driving forces that makes them buy is the single most important way to make a passive income model work. With your target demographic identified, you can then set up an advertising strategy to send people to your site where they can buy your product. We're choosing PPC advertising because it's a form of advertising that will allow you to set everything up and then lean back and let the cash roll in. When it comes to PPC advertising options, there are two big players. One is Google AdWords and the other is Facebook ads. Google AdWords allow you to pay for your ads to appear on the SERPs, that's the search engine results pages, for particular items. This means you can make sure that your foldable weights bench comes up for the term foldable weights bench or workout without space. Whatever the case, this works well because it allows you to target people who are actively looking for products like yours. You're getting people who want your product and who are in the process of looking to buy it. For our completely passive form of income, though, we're going to look at Facebook ads in particular. Why? Because these allow for much more precision when targeting specific people. Facebook ads will allow you to target your ads to people who fall into a very specific demographics based on the information they added to the site. That means you can target people by their age, their sex, their location, their relationship status, their likelihood of owning a property. Facebook also deduces a lot of information, their weight, their hobbies, their interests, and more. And you can also filter your ads to exclude certain people. So, if you're selling a folding weights bench for students through Amazon or a drop shipper, you can now sell that weight bench to male students who don't own a property, who are interested in fitness, who are single and don't weigh very much. Could there be a better demographic for your bench? And because you know they're single, you can choose to market your products in a way that really emphasizes the sex appeal that a big, strong chest gives you. Or how about selling a t shirt with a funny joke about being self employed to people who are self employed? It's so easy this way to match your product directly with your target audience. Or how about if you're selling wedding decorations? Selling them to women who are engaged and have shown an interest in the style of decor that your terms fit into, such as shabby chic. You can infer someone's likelihood of enjoying shabby chic by looking at their favorite brands and books, even. So, better yet is the fact that you can also set the budget perfectly to avoid spending more than you're earning. Remember, with any PPC advertising setup, be it Facebook ads or Google AdWords, you're only going to pay when someone actually clicks on your ad. So if your ad isn't working and isn't attracting clicks, you don't lose anything. And because you're only showing your ads to people likely to want your product, and you're going to use a very upfront explanation of what the product is in your ad, you can ensure that people won't click on the ad unless they're likely to want to buy from you. And in that way, you can enjoy a very positive conversion rate for that audience. Better yet, you can also calculate your budget and your spend perfectly to ensure this. You choose what your maximum bid for your ad clicks is going to be, and that means you can choose how much you're willing to pay for your visitors. This means you can look at how many visitors you get in a month and how many sales you make in a month. What you do then is divide the profit by the number of visitors to work out the average value that each of your visitors is worth to you. So if you have 100 visitors a day and you make one sale of a $100 profit product, that means your average visitor is worth $1 to you. And by doing this, you can now make sure you're paying less than $1 for each click, and it means you should make measurable, predictable profits from every single click. Facebook even allows you to go further by using CPA advertising, where you only pay if somebody actually redeems a special offer. This is a foolproof passive income, and the worst case scenario is that you spend no money and earn no money, in which case you simply tweak the ad and hone the various factors until you find the sweet spot. Those last few videos have given you an insight to what are some of the most popular methods of generating passive income. Of course, many people will also create a blog to help back up their products and to strengthen their brand, but you don't even need to do that. Just a landing page, an affiliate link, and the right advertising campaign will do. But what if you don't want to sell a product at all? Can you make a completely passive income from a website or a blog alone? The answer is yes and no. Over time, if you build a website up to be big enough and provide a huge amount of free information, if you can rank at the top of Google, and if you can build an active community, then in theory, you can get a massive flow of traffic that will be self sustaining for several years, even without you having to have any consistent input. If you then place advertising on this site, you can potentially earn up to a few $100s daily and profit. But this will take a lot of time and a lot of luck. Therefore, most of the best ways to make money from a blog are going to involve regular input on your behalf, which will mean writing new blog posts and running a social media page. One way to get around this is to find a writer, or several, and pay them to write content for your site. Make sure it's good though. Another way to get around this is to buy a website that already comes with a big audience and a big community, plus plenty of content. To get this, you're going to have to spend a large amount of money, but this can be a good investment if you can make that upfront expense. Browse marketing forums and webmaster forums where you'll be able to find people selling sites, and try contacting big sites directly. A good strategy is to contact people who have a massive audience but haven't maximized their earning potential yet with ads and affiliate links. It's likely that they're not going to know just how valuable their site is just yet, and that means they might accept a good deal. Another strategy is to use insider information and to target a website that's in a niche you think is about to become more in demand. In other words, if you have a tip off that a big brand is about to take the world by storm, and you can buy a website about that brand before it happens, you can stand to profit in a big way. If you can buy a website that is already getting a lot of visits, then theoretically you can simply add some adverts to it or some affiliate links and start profiting immediately. That said, there's nothing wrong with running a blog the old fashioned way. This might involve a little more effort than a truly passive income model, but it's still passive in as much as you aren't trading time for money. And if it's a subject you love, then you shouldn't mind writing about it regularly. The key to being successful with this kind of business is again to get inside the heads of your visitors and to offer something really different. That means creating a brand that once again will appeal to a very specific type of person rather than trying to appeal to everyone possible. You need to think about branding your site so that people will instantly know what your site is all about and whether it is for them. And you also need to be very consistent in delivering quality content that's going to offer something a bit different from the competition. Don't think you can make a lot of money by populating a generic site with generic content like how to get a six pack in 500 words. If you want to be the next Tim Ferriss, you need to write about things which sound exciting and which no one has read before. That might mean a new training technique, or it might mean a challenging intellectual expose on a particular aspect of training. It means writing in a way that is entertaining and engaging, and it means writing in a way that is in depth and provides links to useful resources. Then it means building up that brand on social media, getting follows, and getting people to repost and reshare. It means being consistently brilliant and on point and having a clear mission statement that lets people feel like they're part of a movement just by following you. Again, it's about their identity and knowing the psychology of your audience. But meanwhile, there are also a number of useful growth hacks you can use to get surges of hits for your site. One is to write a post that will be particularly irresistible for a certain audience and then finding a route to market again. In this case, it might perhaps mean a community on Google Plus or Facebook. Post there, and if you're fortunate, this can lead to hundreds of thousands of hits overnight. Better yet is influencer marketing. And this means finding a big influencer in the niche and getting them to promote your site. Of course, that means you need to offer something else in return, whether that means you also link to them or it means you provide them with free content. To be successful with this, the best strategy is to start with those smaller influencers that are around your level and then slowly climb the ladder. Each time you get a shout out from one of them, you'll gain more new followers and you'll be able to approach someone even bigger next time. The best way to get influencer marketing and make big money from a blog quickly? Well, network in person with someone who happens to own a massive website. It's not easy, but it is possible. There are other ways you can earn even more truly passive income from a website too, if you so wish. One is to use a subscription model. Now, there are plenty of WordPress plugins that will allow you to do this easily and completely for free. If your content is compelling enough, you might find people are willing to sign up, creating a recurring income that is much more stable and reliable than you may get from ads. Even donations can work as a business model. Or what about having a paywall for your very best content? This works particularly well for those static websites that act like large repositories for information. And that kind of business model is most effective when you target a niche that relies on lots of information. Targeting specific careers and industries can work very well, for example, as can providing a resource for people studying a particular topic. Another option is to create an SAS or software as a service. This might mean making an online calculator, a tool that organizes people by providing to do lists, a CMS, or a dating website. Then you charge for membership. This will require a little coding skill, but you can either handle that yourself or outsource it to a coder through a site like Upwork or freelancer.com, as long as you have the good quality idea to begin with. Now, a quick but very important tip. Not every idea needs to be unique to be very profitable. Sometimes it's best to copy what's working for someone else. The problem with a lot of the ideas that we've gone over so far is that they may seem somewhat abstract or even quite confusing. If you're someone who's never created a website and who would never read a PDF on their computer, then you might struggle to get into the correct mindset of someone who would buy these kind of products. Therefore, you might struggle to make a business like this work. So, how about we simplify things for a moment and go back to basics? Selling a service. The good news is that there are a number of ways you can make money from selling a service and turn it into a passive income. One example was to create the SAS, or software as a service, which basically means automating a service you provide. The best example of this comes from Matt Mullenweg, best known as the creator of WordPress. WordPress is a brilliant example of a service being productized, where Matt actually took his website creation business and turned it into a simple tool that would cut out the middleman. There were countless ways that WordPress could have been monetized, but one option would simply be to charge people to create the site. Similarly, you could easily charge someone for a piece of software that might fix broken video files, or you could charge them to use a piece of software that would churn out images which could be used as stock photos. Another great example of this is Copyscape. Copyscape provides a service by checking to see if there are any duplicate copies of content on the web. This is something that might previously have been handled manually, but with Copyscape, it's possible to check countless articles for only a few cents, and you can find out more at copyscape.com. But if you're not into making software, then this might seem like a business model that is out of reach. Fortunately, we have another trick up our sleeves. Service arbitrage literally means that you're buying something and then selling it on for more. Arbitrage normally refers to the process of buying and selling securities or currency and selling them off simultaneously in different markets for a profit. Doing this with services is simple. You find someone who is looking to hire a writer or a web designer for $30 an hour. You then find a service that provides writing and web design for $20 an hour. Then you simply pass the order from the client straight through to the service provider. This is another example of a near perfect business model because all you have actually had to do is to refer an email that you received from the client off to the creator. This will take you barely any time while at the same time allowing you to make a healthy profit. And like all of our favorite passive income models, this is also highly scalable. Simply find 100 clients that all need work and then 50 service providers capable of offering that work to you. Another similar option is simply to hire people or to use freelancers to create a writing agency or a web design agency. You'll probably need to do a little admin and a little advertising, but the best part is you can hire people to do all that for you as well, simply by funneling some of your profits back into marketing and managing. You can then sit back and watch as the money rolls in. Using automated email services, online forms, and other tricks can help you to cut down your admin even further, to the point where you never have to send an email until something badly goes wrong. This type of passive income model is great because it's so simple and it can work with nearly any kind of industry. The only downside of this form of business is that it really isn't self sustaining. If something goes wrong, then your operations can collapse overnight, which is not the case when you use something like a website that will build up its own momentum. Like the sounds of selling a digital product but don't like the sound of building a landing page and advertising? Then Kindle publishing might be for you. Or how about creating your own mobile app? The Kindle, of course, is a gadget from Amazon that allows people to download EPUB format books and then read them on the go. It uses an e-ink display to minimize eye strain and has a permanent free connection to Amazon. The great news is that anyone can create a book and start selling it on Kindle. And even better news is that you can do this simply by taking your PDF or Word doc and uploading it. It costs nothing and it requires absolutely no technical skill. What Kindle provides, though, is a platform for selling your products and a way to reach a massive captive audience. People will be browsing Amazon store for books all the time, and being in that store makes it incredibly simple for people to discover your content, to buy it, and to download it. This means you don't need to create your own sales page, you don't need to create your own checkout process, and you don't need to create your own marketing plan. In this case, the Kindle store is your route to market, and you can find out more at kdp.amazon.com. As with other forms of selling digital products, selling on Kindle means that you don't have any overheads and you can sell as many books as you like without having to worry about printing costs, storage, or delivery. That means it's another great set and forget form of business. But of course, you do need to invest a little time and or money up front in order to create the book in the first place. To make your book, you can either write it yourself or you can hire someone to write it for you. It does need to be good, though, not only because that's the moral thing to do, but also because readers can read excerpts of books before choosing to buy them or not. What's more is that a good book will have a lot of high star ratings, and this will help it to rank higher. Try to think of the Kindle store stroke Amazon store like a search engine. To get to the top of the search results, your book needs to choose the right niche that isn't too crowded, but that does get a lot of hits. At the same time, it needs to be designed with an outstanding cover, and the name stroke description should have keywords in them that people are going to be searching for. Think about what's hot right now, what's up and coming, and what the world needs more of. Think about how you can anticipate an upcoming trend and make a splash with a great book before anybody else does. Again, if you make a book on building muscle, you're going to have an almost impossible task rising to the top of the heap. Conversely, though, if you write a book on muscle building for students, then it might be a little easier, especially if you can combine that title and niche with a great cover image, a great sales pitch in the description, and some good reviews. Try dropping your price occasionally too to help your product climb the ladder by getting plenty of downloads. The great thing is that even if you only make a few sales a week of your book, there's nothing to stop you making hundreds of books, and over the course of a couple of years, a few sales of hundreds of books is going to mean a lot of money, and especially seeing as one or two of them is bound to take off. Or you can create and sell a mobile app. Once again, this will allow you to create a steady income stream without any overheads, and this can sustain you for a long time to come. The mistake so many people make here is to try and change the world with the next Facebook or some other life changing app. The most successful apps often aren't the ones that aim to change people's lives, though, but rather the throwaway games or the handy tools. Again, it's about knowing what people want right now and what people will search for. Try and make an app that has a social element or that requires the involvement of third parties or that is highly technical, and you've given yourself an almost impossible uphill struggle. But if you try and make an app that is simple to make and has a single purpose, you'll be able to do it in a few weeks and start making a small amount of income. Use the fail fast approach. Now, that means building things quickly to see if they're profitable rather than spending months and years on a project that might never take off. Of course, there are plenty of tools that can help you with the code, or you can hire someone to do the coding for you. Now you have a ton of different options for creating business models that will generate passive income for you. The question is, where do you start? The answer is to think about what you're passionate and excited about. Which of these models and which industry would you be willing to put in the most time and work into? At the same time, ask which projects are likely to have the greatest yield while requiring the smallest amount of time. Try to avoid massive projects for now and instead focus on quickly setting up easy business models that you know will work. Now, That might mean selling a small ebook and selling it on Kindle, or it might mean buying a PLR site or a website that's already doing quite well. Over time, these revenue streams will start to quickly add up, and eventually, you'll be able to earn big money while you're sailing around the world, snoozing in bed, or working on the things that you truly care about. It's about getting inside your buyers' heads. It's about understanding the psychology of selling, and it's about knowing where you can safely cut corners. It comes down to working smart rather than working hard. That smart part is really what's important.